What's up, guys? Welcome back to S&D Fishing. I appreciate you guys joining me today. Welcome back to the channel. If you're here and you're already a subscriber, I appreciate your support. If you're not a subscriber, I do a lot of fishing, a lot of tips and tactics, go over gear, you name it. Anything that has to do with fishing, as best I can with the fresh water I have in my area. Would love to have you join me on my channel, so appreciate you if you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, I post every single week. Love to have you guys along with me for the ride. So, thank you for joining in. I'm hot as heck in this garage. Whew, it's hot. It's blazing in this garage right now, right? And it's even nighttime, if you can tell, as you can see. So we're in midsummer, almost late summer. We're in August, okay? So for me, that's like 90s every single day, like guaranteed, okay? And it feels like it's 90 something in here. So I'm gonna try to make this quick, not sweat out, my entire life in this garage. All right, so real quick, we're gonna talk about summertime tips to help you catch more bass. Now, that could be a lot of different things, based on, your body of water, where you're at in the country, or where you're at around the world. Water clarity, things like that, everything goes into play here. But I'm going to try to keep it super simple, super basic, so these tactics can work for anybody across the country, across the world. So, number one thing, like I said, it is blazing hot in this garage, okay? So it's blazing hot outside. And let's say us as humans, right? We want to stay cool. We don't want to be hot all day, by choice, if you can control that, right? So if you think about that, during the hot summer, we're looking for AC, or if we're outside, we're looking for shade, right, to stay cool. There's no AC out in the water, of course, right? So when it comes to bass fishing, these fish are trying to do their absolute best to try to, stay cool. Now, yes, usually when, summertime comes around, or spring to summer period, when that water temperature, warms up, those fish get to being super active, super, feeding frenzy left and right. You can tag them and back, okay? But summertime hits, especially at that midsummer, like around right now, the fishing seems to slow down, at least for my area. If you're on a better lake, great for you. I just want, like I said, go over some tips for you guys, help you catch more bass during the summer. So, like I said, these fish are just like us. They get hot, they want to stay away from that super shallow hot water during the day. Early morning, you might have a little better chance of, catching them up shallow. Whether it be Texas rigs, definitely topwater frogs, or any topwater baits really, but frogs my favorite. Definitely topwater, Texas rig, around laydowns, things like that. You can definitely get them on those. I'm breaking a sweat in here. But the moment that sun starts to peek out, if you're not up early enough out there, first light or right before first light, safely of course, trying to get that shallow morning bite, as soon as that sun starts to come out, first thing you want to look for is shade. Just like how we as humans look for shade, when the sun comes out to keep us cool, exactly what the bass are going to do. Try to hug tight to those shade lines. Your best bet is going to try to keep your bait in that strike zone, in the shade lines, best you can, as long as you can. Not saying you'll never catch a fish, once it breaks the shade. So if your bait's coming, past the shade line, this is the shade line. Once your bait comes past it into the sun, not saying you won't catch a fish, but like I said, focus on those shade lines. Especially on like bluff walls, got a nice shade line to a nice bluff walls during the summertime. I won't say go all the way back to any coves or anything like that, looking for shade. Yes, you'll have a small population of fish that live back there, but majority of fish are going to move out to your main lake points, okay? Or at least secondary points at least. I would note where your spawning pockets are at, but then move out to that main lake point from that spawning pocket. Okay, those fish love to hang out there. That could be a secondary point. So let's say your lake has a bunch of different, fingerlings, things like that. Try those. Let's say you go into an arm and you have spawning pockets on both sides. Try those points sitting out on that arm. If they're not there on those points out on that arm, come back to the main lake. Try those points. Looking for different structures, humps, nice main lake points that are out in the open. Those are great places for you to target. If you know who's on a nice large lake who has that type of structure or that type of contours going on their lake, that'd be a great place to start. But that's as that sun comes up. As the sun comes up, these fish are going to start coming down a little deeper. When I say deeper, it definitely depends on, your body of water. If your lake or reservoir only goes, 30 feet deep, then deep can be 15. That's totally fine. But definitely, try to use your electronics. Try to, figure out where you see majority of the fish at, as you're, trolling around for that day. If they're sitting in that 10 to 15 range, try to focus on that range the rest of your time fishing. If they're sitting in 20 to 30, that's what you got to focus on. So let's say you found out which range the fish are sitting in for the day. Let's say it's 20 feet. Okay, so 20 feet for that day. That means I only want to focus on baits that are going to be in that 20-foot range. And another thing, I definitely want to focus on giving like the best natural presentation as possible. Don't get me wrong, yes, I love throwing me some deep diving crankbaits. Carolina rig is great. I know you guys might not see me throw a Carolina rig a lot. I would do a poor man's Carolina rig. It would be a Texas rig, but like the weight is able to slide way up. So that's just me. I get lazy sometimes. I don't feel like rigging up a Texas rig, whatever. But Carolina rig, or you can drag a Texas rig deep. You know, get like a 3/8 ounce or a 1/2 ounce. Tungsten is very good, so you guys can feel the bottom. But tungsten weight to get a nice long cast with it, and then drag that Carolina rig. Like I said, let's say we found them in 20 feet to that day. Nice long cast with that Texas rig / Carolina rig. Drag it in that 20 feet, just super slow, maybe a couple pops here and there. That definitely works. And like I said, your main focus is to be super natural as possible. So like a little creature bait behind it, whether it be like a little lizard, or like right here I have, it's like a nice brush hog. You see that? That's nice little brush hog by Zoom there. But just like, you know, a little creature bait or something like that you can have on there. Whether it be a lizard, rage tail creature bug, things like that, you can try dragging that around. Like I said, I do love throwing crankbaits, but by this time of the year, everybody and their mama's throwing crankbaits. So these fish are, you know, consistently being pressured, whether it be daily or definitely on the weekends, of course. Especially when we're in this COVID situation. Some people are, you know, being home, they might just go out to the water. And let's say you're like me, you don't want to necessarily rig up a Texas rig. What you could do is get a jig. Get you a good little jig like that, football head jig to be exact. So you guys can see it. This little trailer here, I think it's by Rachel as well. Just something super simple football jig there. And you can drag that around, throw it out, like I said, in that 15 to 20 foot range, and just drag it. Just drag it through the rocks. These fish are definitely feeding up on crawfish right now. They're feeding up on absolutely everything, really. Shad, crawfish, panfish, you name it, they're feeding up, okay? But they're gonna have small windows, you know, of feeding throughout the summer, well, hot parts of summer. So it won't be just, you know, anywhere you pull up to, they're just gonna be hidden. But my best advice to you guys, especially if you're out on a lake or even in a kayak, rotate your spots. Let's say a bait that you threw out, you know, at this spot didn't work at that time. You hit 2 other spots, come back to that same spot later, try that bait again. Give it another shot. One bait for me that I've been trying to work on this year using is a spoon, flutter spoon. So this right here is a Lake Fork flutter spoon. Okay, it's something super simple. I think it's like the 5-inch. Think about flutter spoon for you guys. Like I said, if you're out on lakes, if you got a boat or if you got a kayak, I would not recommend this for a pond guy, but and this is just a little bead. I try to throw some, I have a stinger hook up here up top. I don't know if you can see that. I just put a little bead there, something to possibly key a bite in on. Try to make sure he gets that hook. Otherwise, you're just relying on the rear hook here, the rear treble. But that's also another good bait to throw during the summer. Looks like a dying shad. It kind of has this nice floating motion going down. And you want to match the hatch, as they say. So, like I said, this is probably about a 5-inch flutter spoon. Something super simple, easy to eat. Only problem is that you gotta make sure that they get that treble hook. And let's say you're in a lake that has larger shad. So you use something that looks like this. This is a 8-inch, still in the pack. That sucker right there, about to rig that up for this weekend coming up. But that's 8-inch, 3 ounces, okay? Heavy rod, heavy line, okay? You guys can't tell it, but it's like 90 in here, okay? But no, definitely want to fish a little deeper, especially when, like I said, when that sun gets up, these fish are going to pull out away from the, pockets, things like that, that if they were feeding up shallow in the morning, they're going to pull off and pull out, okay? So like I said, either dragging a bait on the bottom, trying that flutter spoon. I could definitely try that out. Last but not least, I will say, if I can find it 1 second, or throwing a nice little Kitech there on a jig head, okay? Underspin. And this one actually is about 6 cents. I think it's a 1 ounce. Yeah, 1 ounce or half ounce. 1 ounce. 1 ounce jig head. Because I want to keep it down, keep it low towards the bottom. Like I said, keep this thing in their area, okay? But it's a super nice, easy retrieve. Just let the bait do the work. Okay, like I said, right now this time of year, these fish have gone through months and months, day after day after day of bait presentations in front of them. So you're not throwing what you used to be throwing in the spring. No more chatted baits and rattle traps and all that kind of stuff. Especially when you get fish who are heavily pressured. So like I said, I'm trying to keep my bait choice super simple. These fish have definitely been heavily pressured throughout the entire last couple months, especially with this COVID situation. The stores are almost empty with all fishing gear is gone, except if that's like big super huge Bass Pro Shops, things like that. But no, you want to go to Walmart or something like that, empty. But the last bait I will recommend for you guys who, like I said, I'm gonna get to the pond, guys, in 1 second. Sorry. Last bait for anybody who can get out on the lake, like I said, people in the boats or kayaks, things like that. Last bait I'm going to say is definitely, rig, bait, same thing. But a drop shot, a nice little drop shot rig, man, goes a long way. Okay, one of my favorite little baits here. This right here is Zoom Z drop. Okay, and this we can kind of transition to the pond, guys, because this definitely works for you guys out there. But it's like a little green pumpkin red flake. You guys see that there? But that one and one in like a morning dawn color, or you can rig you a small fluke right on a drop shot hook, man. I'll be rigging this up this weekend as well. But small fluke, shad profile, or it can even represent a small minnow, things like that. But that's definitely a little bait you guys can use. So lastly, you pond guys. Again, same concept. Like I said, early in the morning, you can try up shallow your frogs, things like that. Maybe a little moving bait, maybe a chatterbait, something like that, up shallow. Like I said, first thing in the morning. But once that sun gives up, these fish are going to be in the deepest section of that pond. If that pond only goes 5-6 feet deep, that's where we're going to be. That's what, like I said, your jig may come into play. Toss that out, fill around, and see what's the deepest section. If you toss this area and it takes 5 seconds for your bait to stop taking line from your reel, and you can count that out, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, you'll literally see your line stop moving. That's about, like I said, 5 seconds is about 5 feet. Same thing with, like I said, if it took 10 seconds, that's 10 feet. But try to keep that bait out in the deeper area. For those fish don't have necessarily, a bunch of, depending on your pond, of course, a bunch of overhang, things like that to hide up under for shade. I know some ponds I've been to have like 0 trees around it. So find those deeper pockets, or early in the morning, like I said, chase that shade line. And you can use some of the baits that I mentioned here. I would not recommend using a spoon in a pond. If you catch a fish, I'll give you $20 for that, okay? But yeah, like little small, like bluegill style baits early in the morning, things should go just fine, especially, for the pond guys. And that's a Z-Man, I think Project Z. Well, this one with the weed guard, I forgot. But that thing's money, man. But little, bluegill profile, things like that. Or if you got some small, like that small little fluke I showed you earlier, like I said, represents small minnow. Drop shot can be killer in a pond, man. Absolute killer. But also, if you do have, wherever you're fishing at, if you do have any area that can provide shade like all day, like lily pads, like anything like, vegetation that forms up on top that can create a canopy for the bass, that's going to be money. So guys have the opportunity to punch using like a big 1 ounce weight or like 1.5 ounce weight, who can flip a bait into and break through that mat and get down to those fish that are sitting underneath that canopy. That's gonna be great as well. Or my favorite way, in which I just caught my PB not too long ago on, is a frog. Frog over top of vegetation, man. There's nothing like a top water blow up. And we're talking, it was sunny outside, and I'll show the clip there. But sunny outside, and I'm working the frog over top. They'll come up, blow up on that. They think it's an easy meal going by. So they're going to go crush it, man. But that's it right now, guys. If anything, like I said, just supernatural presentations. If you have to downsize, like I said, a small fluke or a small drop shot rig, things like that, or shaky head. That's it, guys. Just a few tips, like I said, just to give you guys a quick breakdown of where you should be looking early in the morning versus when the sun comes up. Because I want to try to keep it super simple. Just a couple baits thrown in there. I know summer can get tough. You guys keep pushing through, keep fighting to get up early in the morning. Be out there first light. And you have a lot better chance of catching more fish. instead of waiting until midday to start. At midday it just gets rough out there. But other than that, man, if you guys can think of any other baits or any other areas that you can suggest other people to go, by all means, leave a comment down below, and I'll definitely try them out myself. Will you guys let me know your favorite summertime bait? Leave a comment down below. Like I said, I can't let go of a topwater frog, man. It's nothing like a topwater blow up, man. Nothing like it. But that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time out in the water. Take care. Whoo, it's hot.